Rear Window tells the story of Jeff, played by James Stewart, a photographer who is confined to his home due to a broken leg. During his recuperation, he grows bored and has no choice but to stare out of the window at his neighbours because I guess nothing is on TV and his girlfriend Grace Kelly is boring, so he can't really interact with her now, can he?
Oh, why don't you shut up?
However, during his boredom and spying, he grows suspicious of his neighbour, Mr. Thorwald. He grows to believe that he's being abusive to his wife, and it leads to a thrilling murder mystery, entirely set within the confines of Jeff's apartment. Literally every single shot, we, the audience, never leave. And for 1954, that was a pretty ballsy move. This predates 12 Angry Men. That's incredible.
You got it.
Due to the film's premise, an absolutely gigantic indoor set had to be built in Paramount Studios, which took 6 weeks alone, on top of months worth of planning beforehand. It was the largest set ever built in Paramount history at the time. It was 98 foot wide, 185 foot long, 45 foot high, and it consisted of 31 apartments, 8 of which were actually completely furnished. Most of them were actually livable with running electricity and water. Many of the actors genuinely lived in them during the entire filming process. And since everything is shot from Jeff's apartment, Hitchcock never even entered the other ones. He was giving direction to the other actors through earpieces. That man was a genius. Okay, sometimes a bullying perfectionist douchebag, but a bullying perfectionist douchebag genius.
It's only a little bit of innocent fun.
Rear Window had its premiere in New York City on August the 4th, 1954, before being released on September the 1st, less than a month later, earning $5.3 million in North America alone that year. And it was instantly dubbed as one of Alfred Hitchcock's greatest movies ever made. It's a tense and exciting exercise. Hitchcock is a director whose work has a maximum of build-up to the punch, a maximum of carefully tricked deception and incidents to divert and amuse. Although Mr. Hitchcock's film isn't significant, what it has to say about people and human nature is superficial and glib, but it does expose many facets of the loneliness of city life, and it tactily demonstrates the impulse of morbid curiosity. The purpose of it is sensation, and that it generally provides in the colourfulness of its detail and in the flood of menace towards the end. So, you liked it, right?
No, not exactly, but...
It's quite possibly the second most entertaining picture ever made by Alfred Hitchcock. It's a film which there is never an instant when director Hitchcock is not in minute and masterly control of his material. There are occasional studied lapses of taste, and more importantly the eerie sense a Hitchcock audience has of reacting in a manner so carefully foreseen as to seem practically foreordained. The film is one of Alfred Hitchcock's better thrillers, which combines technical and artistic skills in a manner that makes this an unusually good piece of murder mystery entertainment. The film develops such a clean, uncluttered line from beginning to end that we're drawn through it and into it effortlessly. The experience is not so much like watching a movie as like, well, spying on your neighbours. Hitchcock traps us right from the first, and because Hitchcock makes us accomplices in Stewart's voyeurism, we're along for the ride. When an enraged man comes bursting through the door to kill Stewart, we can't detach ourselves because we looked too, and so we share the guilt, and in a way we deserve what's coming to him. The movie went on to be nominated for 4 Academy Awards for Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography and Best Sound Mixing, but unfortunately walked away empty-handed. But the movie was mostly praised for its stance and depiction of voyeurism, playing on the natural human desire to see awful things happen to people. However, the ownership of the original novel was actually copyrighted, and that led to the movie being claimed itself. Even in 1954, copyright was a bitch.
Oh, well, now, wait a minute.
This led to Stewart and Hitchcock's estate being involved, but they did manage to eventually get the rights back in 1983, before the movie was remade in 1998 anyway with Superman. The original was voted by the American Film Institute as the 14th greatest thriller ever made, the 3rd best mystery, and the 42nd best overall. Oh, and if you think the crap 2007 Shia LaBeouf movie Disturbia sounds very similar, it's because it was a complete rip-off and they were even sued for copyright, which was later cleared. They did though. Come on, let's be honest, they stole it.
As always.
To be fair, the movie starts and instantly it doesn't even feel like a Hitchcock film. Just the atmosphere and everything. It feels so happy and optimistic. Nothing bad's gonna happen. You know, if I had a balcony, I'd probably sleep on it randomly too. And the effort spent on the set was so worth it. The panning shots from each apartment look amazing. I mean, it's so obviously a movie set and not a real street, but still, it looks so good on film. What woman dances like that first thing in the morning? She wakes up, instantly looks like a supermodel, and then like first thing in the morning, tra-la-la-la-la. Where'd she get that energy from? Because I want some.
She expects me to marry her.
That's normal.
I don't want to.
It's abnormal.
I'm not ready for marriage.
Every man's ready for marriage when the right girl comes along.
It's true. I'm waiting, baby. Just wait. But my biggest question is, how is he even seeing everything this clearly from his apartment? He doesn't even have any binoculars at this point. Is he Superman?
Window shopper.
Marshmallow.
What a marshmallow.
Jerk, sissy, wimp. Marshmallow. But do none of these people ever shut the damn windows or draw the damn curtains? Even in the evening they're wide open. But I love the shots. It's a cool split screen idea, which is an excellent way to build suspense from the audience's point of view. It's incredibly clever. But I must admit, I do think it drags a bit towards the start. We're half an hour in at this point and it's losing my interest slightly. I love the concept and the way it's being delivered, and kudos for being set entirely in one location, but the characters just aren't really interesting enough to keep me invested, at least at this point. Okay, that's better.
Well, when am I going to see you again?
Not for a long time. At least, not until tomorrow night.
Typical woman.
I just can't figure it. He went out several times last night in the rain carrying his sample case.
Well, he's a salesman, isn't he?
Well, what would he be selling at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Flashlights.
That was funny. I mean, the smash got my interest back a little bit, but so far it's mostly him staring and watching. I know that's where the suspense stems from, but there's little initiation to really get me caught up in it yet.
Stella, take those binoculars out of the case and bring them here, will you?
Oh, now you need the binoculars, do you, Clark Kent? You know, I just love how all these guys just do absolutely everything in plain sight of the windows at all times. It's very convenient.
Get back. Get back.
Well, where do you want me to go? What is it?
Get out of sight.
What's the matter?
Get out of sight. The salesman's looking out of his window, you see? Get back. He'll see you.
But only for a few seconds while I clearly go right back into the light just moments later and risk being caught. Oh, also, he's a professional photographer and not once, not a single moment in this entire movie does he ever try to take a picture of any of the evidence. Yeah, he just uses the camera as a telescope pretty much. Genius. Oh, and get this, his girlfriend of course doesn't believe any of his paranoia claims at first, but then...
Let's start from the beginning again, Jeff. Tell me everything you saw.
Yep, sure. His neighbour has a box, so obviously that means he's a mass murderer. But also, when Jeff reports this behaviour, he doesn't even get in trouble for invading people's privacy. I mean, I know he's proven to be right, but at the time, he's clearly a douchebag. Hitchcock even admitted this. At the end, he's confronted by the killer, and he's painted as the villain.
What is it you want? A lot of money? I don't have any money. Say something. Say something. Tell me what you want. Can you get me that ring back? No.
This is the hero!
He's a villain.
He's a villain! He's a villain! Batman! Joker's over there, Batman! Go get him! You know why, Batman? He's a villain!
As they begin to collect more clues, it does pick up a bit, but the dull part in the middle drags the film down for me. I found 12 Angry Men much more engaging as there were more interesting characters, and it was just a more interesting case. There was never a dull moment. But why the hell does this detective keep humouring this entire case? He shows up and listens to Jeff's claims. He's a bored, injured man spying on his neighbours with no evidence. Why would you give him the time of day? Okay, so he doesn't believe his stories, but then why has he gone along with it this long? He's spying on people. Why haven't you reported him if this is all bollocks?
I wonder if it's ethical to watch a man with binoculars and a long focus lens.
Sure. Of course it is! Weirdo.
Do you like it?
Yes, I like it.
And the least convincing scream in the history of the world goes to... Oh, and one of the neighbours' dogs gets killed. You know, it's funny that we get to watch him stare at people who do nothing, dance around their apartment or watch TV, but then he misses all of the action like a dog being slaughtered.
Neighbors like each other, speak to each other, care if anybody lives or dies, but none of you do. But I couldn't imagine any of you being so low that you'd kill a little helpless, friendly dog.
Oh, shut up and move on! Your dog's just been slaughtered, you stupid bitch! You deserve to join him!
I think I know why Thorwald killed that dog. Here now you take a look and tell me what you see. Now take it down. Now look again. Now take it down. You see?
It's just a picture of the backyard,
Now, Jeff,
that's all.
one important change. Those flowers in Thorwald's pet flower bed.
We are watching people try to figure out why a dog was killed because the dog was digging in someone's garden. Do something! But to its credit, the movie does pick up quite a bit here, as Jeff lures the guy out of his apartment with a fake phone call as the girls head over to try to find some evidence. But how is he the only one who ever seems to look outside his damn window? Nobody else notices any of this? They're even digging in the courtyard for evidence and nobody sees!
Lisa, what are you doing?
Oh yes, James Stewart constantly mispronounces Lisa throughout the entire movie.
Lisa, what are you doing?
Who the hell is Lisa? But she even climbs into his damn apartment and nobody notices! But for real, the suspense here is insane. She's checking the apartment out and you are on the edge of your seat hoping the guy doesn't come back anytime soon. And when he does, you are begging for her to get out of there, and the direction from afar really helps. You feel a sense of distance from the character, so even the audience feels helpless and unable to help her. The visual storytelling is excellent. Jeff calls the police and she has the wedding ring on that belongs to the alleged murdered wife, but the killer spots them. It's actually really intense. Then he calls Jeff up, who accidentally reveals himself as the Watcher before we hear a loud door open in the building. But Jeff is all on his own, and despite him being a bit of a dick, you feel for him and really don't want any harm to come to him. You just hear the slow footsteps approaching his door, and it is intense as hell. And apparently everyone leaves their front doors open as well as their windows. And Jeff uses his camera's flash to blind the guy, but... You know, after one flash, surely you'd get the hint and just run towards him. Also, why didn't Jeff turn the lights on when he heard the guy approaching his apartment? I mean, these other arseholes clearly never look outside, but I'm just saying, he wants people to see. Turn the damn lights on, you moron! But have a hilariously bad green screen effect. Oh dear. This is bad. It's cool though, he was completely unharmed. The movie does have a brilliant premise with impeccable suspense building. I think that's what sells it. Yeah, the characters aren't that engaging, at least to me, and the story drags a bit in the middle, but the premise and direction makes the movie work so well, and it's definitely got Hitchcock's trademark talent written all over it.